Coon Rapids City Council meeting for Tuesday, March 15th, 2018. If you could please rise and join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you could please call the roll.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here. Here. Here. Thank you. First item on our agenda this evening is to adopt this evening's agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Kicker, motion by Demmer. It's beginning of the meeting. Let me get trained in again, you know. Motion by Demmer, second by Johnson. Any discussion or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And the agenda is adopted. First item then is our proclamations and presentations, and we have a couple guests here from the Crooked Lake Area Association. And gentlemen, if you would come up to the podium and tell us about the wins.
Well, the big win for the Crooked Lake.
Wait, tell us who you are first and
Yeah.
tell us where you live.
Joel Friday. I'm on Cary Street in Coon Rapids. I live on Crooked Lake, and I am the Coon Rapids area watchdog for the Crooked Lake Area Association. The big wins, of course, were the Eurasian milfoil and things like that. That has been almost eliminated in the lake. We're just got our delineation report, and Gary's going to go over that a little bit more detail here. So we want to be here and thank the city for taking care of the funding that they provide every year. We also collect dues from, it's a voluntary association, so we collect dues from people around the lake, and anybody that's interested in Crooked Lake or enjoys the lake, we would gladly accept your $25 or $35 donation. $35 if you live on the lake, $25 if you don't. Just a quick question, given the activity we had on the ice this year, probably a better question for Brad, but who does the law enforcement on the ice? Is that left up to just the DNR, or does the city police go? I know I see you guys out there every night spotlighting the park itself, but on the ice itself, it seemed like that might be something we need to address just because of what happened this year.
Everybody's going, what happened this year?
Well, it's my understanding that there was sex trafficking and meth being sold on the lake. I don't know if that's correct.
Something in the ice houses. I remember reading
Yep.
something about that from the sheriff's department. I think that was the sheriff's department that was handling that.
Yeah, so I know that the sheriff's department does Andover, and they handle Andover side, but I don't know who comes across to the Coon Rapids side, because I know there's no lake access from Coon Rapids onto the ice surface, so
Yeah.
just a thought. I don't know if that's
Okay.
something people can watch in the future, because we noticed some unusual traffic on the lake, but we weren't feeling well at the time, so I didn't venture out there, and now that I found out what happened, I'm probably glad I didn't venture out there.
Yeah. Well, I think that's when you pick up 911 and let the dispatchers figure out who's going to go out there and take care of that.
Okay.
But absolutely.
Well, I'd like to introduce Gary Nearson. He's our president.
Thank you, Joel. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for inviting us. And thank you again for all of your support over the years. And let me just briefly reiterate some of the history for people who don't know, but our Lake Association has had starts and fits since the 90s, and actually way back before then. However, we started anew in about 2006 and incorporated. We're a 501c3 nonprofit corporation with a very active board and association and a lot of members around the lake. We've had a problem with invasive species forever on the lake, especially hybridized Eurasian water milfoil and curly-leaf pondweed. Traditionally, you always need a DNR permit to treat herbicide-wise, or even cut, if you're going to harvest the things. But the DNR had a rule that you could only treat like 15% of the lake without jumping through a whole bunch of hoops. Well, that wasn't doing much for us, so we decided to jump through the hoops, and we developed a lake vegetation management plan in 2013. The 15% before allowed us to treat like 12 acres. Well, in 2013, 14, and 15, we treated respectively 34, 22, and 26 acres to greater or lesser effect. In 2016, we actually had a recommendation from Keegan Lund at the DNR that, hey, let's change our paradigm a little bit here. And we worked with him and with our other consultant, James Johnson of Freshwater Scientific Services. He's a lake expert, and with our applicators to come up with treating about 30 acres in about 8 different areas. But what that was is scattered throughout the whole lake, and with wind and wave action, and with the chemical we used being granular, taking us a long time to dissolve, it winds up being like a whole lake treatment. And we used Floridone. And we had a lot of volunteers throughout the lake who would go out and get water samples once a week, all summer long. We had the initial treatment, and then we 90 days or 60 days later had another bump treatment, and another 60 days, another. But anyway, all these water samples, we'd FedEx those in to be tested to make sure the concentration was staying where it was supposed to, at a very low dose, between 1 and 3 parts per billion. At the end of the summer, boy, did we have a successful treatment for Eurasian water milfoil. 2017, we really enjoyed that clear water, and any of you who've been on the lake, I'm sure you did too. This year, well, in an assessment that they did in the fall last year, they found very, very few Eurasian water milfoil plants. The anticipation is that this year we can get by with spot treatments, or perhaps even just volunteers going down to do some hand pulling. So that's outstanding. We hope to keep it that way. The other problem we have is curly-leaf pondweed. That's always been in the lake too. We treated for it in the past. Last year we did a small treatment. This year we need to do more. The ice just went out April 29th, but we got our delineation report, one of those hoops that the DNR requires you to jump through. And we'll be treating 9 different areas of about 15 acres for curly-leaf pondweed, and that's probably going to happen this week. Last year, in 2017, we did, beyond that very small curly pondweed thing, we embarked on a transplant program. That's another thing DNR wanted us to do. If we're going to kill off all the Eurasian water milfoil, let's replace it with something. And so, Joel, can you pass these around?
Sure.
I've got like four or five copies there you can share, but this is a picture of a bunch of volunteers from the DNR, Coon Creek Watershed District, as well as our Lake Association. And we harvested a number of plant species from a lake called Norris Lake in northern Anoka County, which has been assessed by the DNR to not have any invasive species at all. So they picked up 5 desirable plant species that they like to get. And what you see in this lake, they're picking them out of these plastic buckets and poking a hole in the burlap sack. And then, Joel, and so they stay there. And then some other folks are building metal cages in the water that these burlap sacks are going to go with. Here's another one, Joel. With the plants in them. And that's how the transplanting was done at 9 different locations around the lake. The assessment afterwards is that all 5 of the plant species that we wanted in there are growing and proliferating, and the hope is that they continue to spread and spread and spread and replace those areas where Eurasian water milfoil used to be. That's the plan. So, one more, Joel. Beyond that, with the Coon Creek Watershed District, we're monitoring for zebra mussels. Now, this is a little device that we have at, I think about 8 different locations around the lake. A volunteer lake shore owner hangs this in about 1 to 2 feet of water off his dock and checks it. You get in there and you feel with your fingers for if there's any rough spots, or if there's just, you know, weeds collection, they'll brush off. But rough spots that stay, that's probably a zebra mussel, infant or something. Anyway, if you do find those, then you haul it in and you send it to the Watershed District for evaluation if it's zebra. So far, we don't have any zebra mussels, but this is an ongoing perpetual program. Started last year, it's repeating this year, it'll go again next year. Beyond that, Anoka County is funding watercraft inspections at the public landing. Last year, we had some over 500 hours of inspection, but the rate of violations is mostly in people wanting to launch their boat with the boat plug still in. In other words, they transport it with the boat plug in, and you're not supposed to do that. But even at that, a violation rate was like 3% of those people. So, getting pretty good compliance with transporting the boats into the lake and making sure they're clean before they put them in. Beyond that, can I answer any questions?
How's your dam holding up?
It's been a while since I brought that up with the Coon Creek Watershed District, but the last time I did, which was more than a year ago, they said they needed repair and upkeep on it, but it wasn't to the point where that was gonna happen immediately. So I think it's on their longer-term agenda, maybe next year, year after. It's holding up good. It does have the, that weir with a culvert on it up at I think it's 861 feet above sea level. For if the lake fills up to that level, it'll drain out into the wetland on the south part of the lake, and then under Main Street and into the wetland on the other side.
And how's the water level now at this time of year? You're out of a no-wake zone now, right?
No,
You're not?
it's
Okay.
we don't have, it's at a nice level. Yep.
Yeah, it's slightly higher than it was when we moved in 3 years ago, but not drastically.
But it's not so high that it's triggered a no-wake zone?
No, no.
Okay.
Excellent. Any other questions? Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks, Gary.
Thank
Joe.
you.
All right. Next on our agenda is the approval of the 2018 Local Board of Appeal and Equalization Minutes. Councilmember Demmer,
Move approval of the 2018 Local Board of Appeal and Equalization minutes.
Second.
motion by Demmer, second by Geisler. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. Next are the minutes from the May 1st meeting.
Your Honor,
Councilmember Demmer.
move to approve the minutes of May 1st, 2018.
Second.
Motion by Demmer, second by Griscoviac to approve the Coon Rapids City Council meeting minutes from May 1st, 2018. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
One abstention.
That motion carries, one abstention. Councilmember Kicker. We have 3 items on our consent agenda this evening. The first one satisfies a third of the mystery. There's 3 buildings going in by Home Depot. Now we know it's going into one of them anyway. Item 4 this evening, first on our consent agenda, is to approve an on-sale wine and 3.2% malt strong beer and Sunday liquor licensing for Akita Sushi, Coon Rapids Incorporated. Wen Kang Yang, and I'm really sorry if I didn't do that well, along with 2 additional owners, has submitted an application for on-sale wine, 3.2% malt, strong beer and Sunday liquor licensing for Akita Sushi, Coon Rapids Incorporated, doing business as Kyoto Sushi, 3500 124th Avenue Northwest. Akita Sushi, Coon Rapids, Inc. has leased one of the new retail spaces being built near the Home Depot site and is waiting for the space to be completed. The tentative plan is to be open in June of 2018. A certificate of insurance evidencing liquor liability and workers' compensation coverage has been received. The license and investigation fees have been paid. The police department is conducting a comprehensive background investigation on all owners of the business, and approval of the license would be conditioned upon a successful background investigation, issuance of a certificate of occupancy, and Anoka County Environmental Services issuing a food service license. So with this action, we will be approving issuance of on-sale wine, 3.2% malt, strong beer, and Sunday liquor licensing for Akita Sushi, Coon Rapids, Inc., doing business as Kyoto Sushi, 3500 124th Avenue Northwest, contingent upon a successful background investigation and obtaining a certificate of occupancy and an Anoka County food service license. Next is item 5 tonight on our agenda. It's the second on our consent agenda, to adopt Resolution 18-66, accepting the Community Strength Foundation donation in the amount of $6,480. Community Strength Foundation has donated $6,480 to offset costs for the 2018 Summer Concert Series. The donation will offset costs for the following performers: Capri Big Band, Backyard Band, The Authorities, Gravel Roads, Ecuador Manta, Good Foot Express, Castaways, Big E and the Collins Blues Company, and the Red Letter Band. We're looking to adopt a resolution formally accepting this donation, and we, of course, are grateful to the Community Strength Foundation for their generosity. So we will be adopting Resolution 18-66, accepting the donation of $6,480 from the Community Strength Foundation for use in the 2018 Summer Concert Series. Item 6, and the last one on our consent agenda, is to accept the First Amendment to the easement agreement from James M. Stanton Trust. In 2012, council accepted an easement agreement from the Jim M. Stanton Trust, UA, February 20th, 4th, 2010, for sidewalk and snow storage purposes along 3200 Main Street Northwest, which is the Wells Fargo building. The trust is now in the process of selling the property to a new buyer, and the title company has raised an issue with the easement and is requesting that the easement agreement be amended to account for benches and streetscapes located within the easement. While both the city and trust believe the current easement agreement adequately accounts for the benches and streetscapes, in the spirit of cooperation, both are willing to amend the easement agreement to alleviate any concerns for the new buyer and the title company. So the First Amendment to the easement agreement has been prepared and specifically provides for the placement of benches, brick seating, and streetscapes within the easement area. Staff does not believe the amendment limits current and/or future use of the sidewalk. So this would be accepting the First Amendment to the easement agreement for sidewalk and snow storage purposes from James M. Stanton Trust.
Your Honor,
Councilmember Wells.
I move the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Wells, second by Demmer. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And the consent agenda is adopted. Next, under bid openings and contract awards, we're looking to consider resolutions number 17-28 sub 9, awarding a contract for Riverwalk sanitary sewer rehabilitation, and number 18-68, amending the 2018 sanitary sewer budget. The city is proposing to improve several segments of a 42-inch diameter sewer pipe and ancillary manholes in conjunction with the Metropolitan Council Environmental Services Lift Station Improvement Project. SEH Incorporated and staff completed plans, advertised the projects April 6th and 13th, and received bids on April 25th. We're being asked to award a contract at this time. This project was not included in the 2018 adopted budget, so council is asked to also approve amending the 2018 sanitary sewer fund budget. The proposed improvements are shown on the project location graphic and comprises the full rehabilitation of approximately 1,100 feet of 42-inch pipe and several manholes in the Riverwalk area. The advertisement for bids was published on April 6th and 13th, 2018, and bids were opened April 25th. The low bidder, Lametti and Sons Incorporated, has successfully completed similar projects throughout the metro area. Pending award of the contract, the work is anticipated to begin in June and be completed in October. The cost of the project will be amortized over 75 years, but was not included in the 2018 budget. Anything you want to add to that, Mr. Himmer? Where's everything going to go during the construction process?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, they have to put in temporary bypass systems. So there will be 3 different segments of temp bypass systems that are required as part of this project. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, I guess 1,100 feet of 42-inch, that's moving a lot of product.
Everything south of the railroad tracks in the city of Coon Rapids.
All right. Councilmember Demmer?
Just a couple of questions. Number one, amortized over 75 years, is that a pretty typical lifespan for a 42-inch diameter sewer pipe?
That project was originally constructed in the
75 years ago, yeah.
I don't think so.
I'm trying to do the math in my head, but I had help from the finance department on the finance resolution piece, so Sharon must have looked it up.
Yeah, we have a policy and that's, these pipes last for a long time, unfortunately, but not forever, so.
Okay. But it's not like they only last 20 years and
No.
we're, okay. And then second, since we always give you credit when you're way under, any commentary on the difference between the engineering estimate and the bid, because they're quite a bit off?
No, Councilmember Demmer, that was a head scratcher for us as well. We opened these bids, this was actually supposed to be on the agenda 2 weeks ago, and we delayed, we spoke to the contractors. We just looked at the bids that are coming in for this pipe. There's the really, really large pipe that the Met Council does, that's 72-inch plus. Then there's the lining stuff that we do typically on our 8 to 12-inch, and there's this kind of this middle range where because of all the Met Council work that's going on, all of those big pipe work that's occurring, there's not a lot of opportunity for some of the smaller work to be done. So this is one of 3 projects that SEH had bid around the metro, and that's why we were finding these consistent prices. So we're trying to determine, do we chunk out part of the project? Do we try to kick the can down the road a little ways? But in the end, it was determined that regardless of how we slice and dice this, these are gonna be the numbers we end up with. So why wait on it? Let's just move forward. So that's my recommendation.
Okay. All right, if there's
Councilmember
nobody
Demmer?
else, then move resolution 17-28 sub 9, awarding a contract to Lametti and Sons Incorporated in the amount of $1,111,700 for the Riverwalk Sanitary Sewer Rehabilitation Project, and move resolution number 18-68, amending the 2018 Sanitary Sewer Fund in the amount of $1,111,700.
Second.
Motion by Demmer, second by Kicker. Discussion?
Mayor,
Councilmember Kraskowiak?
in conjunction with the other question there on the difference on the cost, I was wondering, is there any work being done on this segment of pipe that is related to or in preparation for the redevelopment of Port Riverwalk and the Centra proposed?
Councilmember Krzysztofiak, members of the council, that's one of the reasons why we took it as far as we did. So this
Yeah.
gets us all along Coon Rapids Boulevard, under Coon Rapids Boulevard, and to Avocet and East River Road. So it's right into the middle of Port Riverwalk. So we'll be looking at those next segments. If you recall in the work session, the rating system going further west of here, the pipe was in rough shape, but not to this extent. So we'll be looking at that with the Riverwalk improvements. That might we do lining, might we consider replacement while it's all being constructed. But this gets us to a point within the Riverwalk that we could talk about it in a bigger discussion of infrastructure improvements.
Okay, so then, because we don't have a final plat on that Riverwalk yet, do we?
Not as it relates to the development, but there's been many plats that have come through kind of cleaning up some of that title work.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Item 8 is to consider resolution numbers 18-9 sub 9A and 18-9 sub 9B, awarding contracts for 2018 well rehabilitation program. At its regular meeting held February 7th, 2018, council retained Short Elliott Hendrickson, SEH, for design and construction services for rehabilitation of well numbers 4, 5, and 6 and booster pump number 1 located at the East Water Treatment Plant. The work under this year's program was split into 2 separate contracts that will be managed concurrently. Contract A will be rehabilitation of well numbers 4, 5, and 6, and Contract B, East Water Treatment Plant booster pump number 1. And we are looking at municipal builders for Contract A and Minnesota Mechanical Solutions for Contract B. Can we do both motions together when we get to that point then, since it's 2 different vendors? Sure. All right. Council, any questions? Need any more information? Mr. Himmer, anything you want to add?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Geisler?
Make a motion to adopt resolution 18-9 sub 9A awarding a contract to municipal builders in the amount of $276,795 for rehabilitation of well numbers 4, 5, and 6, and adopting resolution number 18-9 sub 9B awarding a contract to Minnesota Mechanical Solutions in the amount of $97,950 for the rehabilitation booster pump number 1 located at the East Water Treatment Plant.
Second.
Motion by Geisler, second by Wells. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? And that motion carries. We don't have any old business to consider. Under new business, we have consider resolution number 18-7 sub 8, accepting plans and specifications for the Egret Boulevard water main replacement and authorizing solicitation of bids. Mr. Himmer, what just happened? Did the wheels just kind of come off that section of water main down there?
Mr. Mayor, we've got some issues, whether it's soil conditions or age. Gosh, we just rebuilt this road in 2011, 2012. And so over that Martin Luther King holiday, we had 3 in 3 days within about 50 feet of each other, and then 2 more since then. So there's been 5 in this stretch of road in about a month-and-a-half period down there. So because it has such little effect on some of the residential area, we're trying to do some directional boring or some pipe bursting to try to save as much of the roadway as we can and replace that water main. I believe there's like 5 or 6 services that come off of that. So in hindsight, we should have been a little more aggressive with the replacement, and that's what we try to do going forward. But in this instance, I can't tell you what happened in that short span to have as many failures as we have. But since this has occurred, there's another one down in that area off of 97th and Avocet somewhere in there where we've had another 2 to 3, a very similar situation to this. So we'll be looking at that one for next year and maybe in discussion with some of the Riverwalk work since we're already down there. But there seems to be some soil conditions that are playing into this a little bit, and so we'll investigate those at the same time.
And this is the Egret Boulevard between approximately 99th Avenue and Coon Rapids Boulevard service road that we're talking about.
Right where we put that new trail connection in, we just did the well rehab down there, so a lot of things were occurring in that area at the same time. And we're working now on a ditch cleaning project to kind of make that whole thing complete when it's done, because we started to lose some of the storm sewer because of the water main flow and breaks that occurred. So the trail's in good condition, that's still good, nothing happened to the well house, but that infrastructure is kind of that ticking time bomb, and I don't want to continue to wait and have these emergency scenarios if we can try to address it here in short order.
Sure. Councilmember Demmer?
So I definitely understand wanting to get it taken care of fast, but I mean, is there anything, you're saying the soil conditions are causing problems, is there anything that we need to do differently? Different, more expensive, more robust pipes, move the pipe path somewhere else, or I do worry about doing a quick fix and then having it go bad again.
Yeah, Councilmember Demmer, we're proposing to use HDP C900 pipe, so it doesn't have that same metallic component, so the pitting doesn't occur. It can last longer in this type of an environment. So under either scenario we're contemplating, we'd be using that type of pipe material.
So basically the soil conditions were causing rust, and we're going to use something a little more rust proof.
Between the rust, there's also kind of the electric stuff from kind of the small utilities that are in there and people that ground their homes to their pipes, which is not a good condition. So it's out there everywhere, and because of the soils, I think the water table, some of that ambient electricity and things, all of those things probably can contribute. I can't pinpoint exactly which one.
Okay, but you are looking into a more robust pipe, basically.
A different pipe material that does not conduct electricity, that does not have those similar type of situations.
Do you have to tell any of the people who've grounded their house to the pipe that it will no longer be grounded?
That is not true, because their
Okay.
service line is still connected to the curb stops, and everything coming out of their home is still in that condition. It just doesn't go all the way out to our main.
Okay.
What's HTP 900?
Yeah,
What,
oh.
better than the HTP 800, I guess.
That's a great product, but you gotta get the
C900,
C900?
You gotta get that under.
dual walled.
Yeah, that one.
All right, Councilmember Johnson.
I'm gonna move adoption of resolution number 18-7, parens 8, close parens, approving plans and specifications and ordering advertisement of bids for the Egret Boulevard Water Main Replacement Project.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Geisler. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. Next item is to consider introduction of an ordinance authorizing conveyance of Outlot A, Minnesota Park Third Edition. This just looks like a little bit of cleanup over there off 101st where the road was turned and the lots were reformed, but at the end of this, we're gonna have a lot to sell.
That is correct.
Let's see here. So do you want me to just read your description here, or do you wanna hit the highlights?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, with the previous plat of Minnesota Park, we created a buildable lot as well as a remnant piece, which we've deemed as an outlot because the adjacent property owner, which has some encroachments onto that already, will be combining it with their parcel, paying $1,552 for it. And so she ends up with all of her stuff on her lot, we end up with a sellable lot, and we figured it was win-win for everybody, and I'll answer any questions after that.
Excellent.
Do have one question there.
Councilmember Demmer.
Will the person with the existing lot who's doing the combining suddenly find themselves with a park dedication fee?
No, because it's not a buildable lot. And it will ultimately end up being a single lot. So they'll take their existing lot and combine it. This is not of such a size that it would be buildable. So in the end, it will end up being one PIN number.
Okay, I was just worried about the combining one, that if the old one had never paid a park dedication, that they might get a surprise. So I just wanted to make sure they know about their full costs if they do that.
Yep.
Okay.
Councilmember Johnson?
Just a quick question. In the original site plan, there was, or site, the aerial, there's a remnant that's now across the street, across 101st. What's happening with that? Is that just,
Councilmember
Staying there.
Johnson, members of the council, that's just still the remnant right away. It handles mostly the butternut. I certainly see maybe what your question may be.
It's a little
and that is
triangle.
kind of an access to a parking lot scenario. But yeah, it's still technically right away over on that side. So we weren't intending to do anything with that because absent additional work that was gonna be needed or some other benefits out here, the cost to do the survey and the plating really wouldn't.
so nobody's getting taxed for that? It's not added on to anybody else?
Correct, that's
Okay.
considered right away.
All right, very well. Thank you.
Okay. And if there's no other questions, then we will consider the ordinance authorizing conveyance of Outlot A, Minnesota Park Third Edition to Sherry K. Lixon, maybe? We'll consider that introduced, and we'll be taking action on that at another meeting. All right, we are on item 10. Consider, oh, that was what we just did, right? Yeah, that's what we just did. I forgot to mark it off. Item 11, consider easement agreement for project 17-25 Dakota Street reconstruction. And on May 16th, 2017, exactly a year ago, Council approved an agreement with Allina Health System as part of an expansion and remodel project at Mercy Hospital. The agreement details required improvements made to Dakota Street Northwest in conjunction with their parking ramp and building expansion, and outlines cost and future maintenance requirements. A condition of the agreement requires the developer to dedicate all easements required for the new right turn lane on Dakota Street to allow for the expanded roadway and for city maintenance into the future. Per the attached agreement, a permanent easement will be located 10 feet from the curb line, constructed for the right turn lane along Dakota Street, and allow the city access for future maintenance and construction activities. That cover it?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
All right. And does council have any questions?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to recommend the adoption of the permanent easement with Allina Health Systems and authorize the execution of the agreement.
Second.
Motion by Geisler, second by Johnson. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. Item 12 is to consider an access agreement with CS McCrossin Construction Incorporated for 16-13 Hanson Boulevard grade separation. Mr. Himmer, did we get everything we wanted?
Mr. Mayor, this agreement contemplates 2-year use of the property, material storage only, not equipment, maintaining a 10 to 15 foot buffer around the perimeter, saving all trees with the exception of some ash trees, which will require them to remove and replace. Planting of native vegetation, they own it, maintain it for 3 years so we get establishment. The construction access only out onto Hanson Boulevard. That kind of went through my checklist of the wants and needs. There was a lot of debate on having park improvements installed and not installed, trail connections. I think if we get them over 2 years, we maybe figure out something differently in that area. But for now, if they can establish that and be responsible for 3 years, we can carve out trails and any other niches and signage that we see fit after that, or in conjunction with that.
Thank you.
But again, this is something that we're not required to do. I think it's good for the project. They're kind of all over the place out there. Got stuck in a little bit of negotiation, and so here we are today. That I think I got everything on our list, maybe not to everyone's satisfaction, but certainly I think I've addressed every one of the comments we received as we discussed in work session.
So there's no compensation, it's just really a matter of a spirit of cooperation to try and help the project along.
I guess indirectly the compensation are the improvements on the back end following construction.
Okay.
So there is some cost to them to do that, but it's not just we'll pay you X amount in rent per month. It's just improvements that would be done and necessary for the park anyway, and getting rid of some of the ash trees,
Yeah,
and
that's
getting
a
some
win.
new replacements, and it'll be a little bit of a impact to that neighborhood as that whole construction area is going to be, but we confine them to that access, staying off those roads. I guess the one thing we did put in here is kind of the 3-strike rule, that whether it's you, your delivery folks, anybody else, 3 times you get this notice of violation, whether you're delivering too early, you're being too noisy, you're not keeping up on your sweeping. When they hit 3 times, 3 strikes, you're out, regardless of when that is. They have 30 to 60 days to return it to its existing condition, and absent that, we have a $5,000 bond that we can take their money and do it for them. But this isn't something I want to be revisiting daily, weekly, monthly. I don't want to have to be policing this all day, every day for a couple of years.
Okay. And the most likely one would be the equipment starting too early or something behind the houses, or,
That's one of the reasons why we said no equipment storage on the site. It's materials only. And deliveries are confined to a lesser time period than our standard noise ordinance.
okay, very good. Council?
I have a question.
Councilmember Johnson?
So I got a little confused looking at the location map where it said to protect or remove the ash trees. And I see from the agreement it says to remove the 5 ash trees adjacent to the boulevard. It then says contractor shall plant and warranty in-kind replacements for all trees removed from the property. I'm assuming, I don't care so much what the language means, but but I'm assuming they're not gonna put ash trees back there.
That is correct. We clarified that. That's why he put on this exhibit to protect. He said, why would I remove them if I'm not gonna be impacting them? And I said, because that's what I'm asking you to do. So we've
Yeah.
already determined some lindens and some
Perfect.
honey locusts or something as replacement. He just wanted to make sure we didn't end up with palm trees or, you know, something like that that was
Well, we could,
reasonable.
You know, I mean. All right.
We don't have a motion on this here, do we? Or we're looking, do we need a motion? Yeah, we're looking for authorization for the mayor and city manager to execute the agreement.
Your Honor.
Councilmember Demmer.
Move to authorize access agreement with CS McCrossin Construction, Inc. for 16-13 Hanson Boulevard grade separation.
Second.
Motion by Demmer, second by Griscoviac.
Somebody.
Motion by Demmer, second by Kicker. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. Item 13, consider resolution 18-67, amending budget for a mower. So, Ms. Legg, do you want to tell us about this, or should we have the,
I don't know, I bet Mr. Anderson could do a better job. More.
Mr. Anderson?
Mayor and Council, this item relates to a zero-turn mower that is really for mowing rough, but more specifically for mowing the swales and ridges and edges of the bunkers, especially the new bunkers. We've used ground masters, I call them ground masters, to mow around greens and bunkers in the past, but those are kind of phased out, and we're moving in with these new grounds masters. What's really nice about these new units are they have flexible decks, which really get into those crevices and nooks and crannies that you normally can't get to with a regular rough mower. So this will really help us. The new bunkers have grass faces and are deeper than our previous bunkering. So this will allow us to get in there and maintain them to a high quality for a long time.
Get in there and mow that drought-resistant fescue.
Right, drought-resistant fescue, and this project has been so smooth so far, and we're almost done. Great weather has helped. Brad Habel, the Bunker Hills Green Superintendent, has done just a fantastic job leading the way for Bunker Hills and for the city out there. But yeah, the fescue is great. The sod is really good. It came out looking really fantastic. So we're looking to finish it off and then use this mower, if it's approved, to continue showing off a great product.
Excellent. Council? Sorry, Tim.
I do have a question as
Oh,
well.
Councilmember Demmer?
Then I'll make a motion, but, so it says it'll save labor. Do you have like a guess at the dollar amount in labor it's gonna save per year?
Well, there's been a lot of labor. One of the main reasons we wanted to do the bunker project in general is because the black matting and issues we had with our previous bunkering, we were out there all the time. So it's hours per day, for sure, that the new bunkering saves. This new mower, because we're mowing more grass than we're raking bunker sand and fixing it, is an hour a day, maybe 2 hours a day.
Okay, so there's a pretty short payback period on it, and it's,
The labor savings over time is substantial.
okay, fantastic. All right, so move to authorize resolution 18-67, amending the 2018 golf fund budget for the purchase of a new zero-turn mower in the amount of $4,850.
Second.
Motion by Demmer, second by Geisler.
Nice.
Discussion?
Can we also throw in some suntan lotion for,
Tough week at the office. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. We are at the open mic public comment portion of the meeting. Is anybody here to address council for open mic? Yes. All right, well then, let me just read the rules. Open mic provides an opportunity for the public to address the city council on subjects that are not part of the regular meeting agenda. The public is invited to express any concerns they may have which are relevant to the affairs, policies, or practices of the city of Coon Rapids. Remarks will be limited to 3 minutes. And if you wish to participate, approach the podium and state your name and address before addressing the council. All remarks will be made from the podium and addressed to the council as a whole. Questions from open mic is not a time for problem solving or reacting to the comments made, but for hearing the speaker for informational purposes only. Questions from council will be for clarification only, and if necessary, a staff report will be prepared for the next regular council meeting with a copy forwarded to the speaker. Oh, here we go. Yes.
Hello, I'm Jackie Fable. I live on Avocet up in the Wexford neighborhood. I am the volunteer director for the Coon Rapids Soccer Association. And this is Melissa Bright.
And I live on Wintergreen Street in Coon Rapids here as well, and I am the fundraising director for the Coon Rapids Soccer Association.
We wanted to come tonight to talk about like the soccer complex and any future plans for that, because the concession building is in, it's getting quite old. So I'd like to start by stating like what our mission statement is, which is play soccer, build character, develop leaders. And then our vision statement is our goal is to develop players that give back and stay involved in their communities. So our association is very heavily community involved. We are the lowest registration fees in the whole state. We do not turn away players for any reason. We have scholarships so that all players can play, which is quite different than a lot of bigger clubs around, in close communities. So we're just dedicated to the community, and so we are here to talk about maybe building a stronger relationship in maintaining our fields and maybe making some improvements to the concession building. Our program is growing quite a bit. Some of that is due to the Minnesota Loons becoming Major League Soccer, and we also, as a club, although we're quite small, like as an example, we only had 13 competitive teams last year, but of those 13, we had 3 state championship teams, which I think says a lot for the dedication of our coaches, parents, and other members. And we are a fully volunteer organization. No paid coaches, none of that. Also, we host several programs. We have a recreational program, which is not competitive. It's just to come out, enjoy soccer. We have our competitive program. And we also work with the Minnesota Youth Soccer Association to host certain events like the state tournaments, the championships, Olympic development program, and also what they call Top Soccer. It's a program designed to provide soccer for kids and young adults with special needs. And we have our own kids come out and help volunteer so that they can be giving back and, learn those types of skills and be leaders themselves. So I guess with that, speaking of hopefully some future monies going into there, we kind of have a wish list. We would like to see the concession portion of the building expanded, because right now it is very small and it barely holds 3 people, which makes it very hard to take money and get the food and and all that. We also would like to have a meeting space for our board members, and when we have tournaments, have a tournament headquarters and a place to take care of all those organizational type things. And obviously, some restroom rehabilitation. We're thinking maybe have maybe put the drop-in type like it was used at Woodcrest. And then that would save maybe some construction on the building, so keep costs low. And with all of that, we are willing, as a club, to share in some of this cost. I don't really know how much that would be yet, because we have to, as a board, would have to meet and discuss like what we can actually afford.
So, I'll let you go past 3 minutes because there was
Sorry.
no, that's because there's two of you, but I realized all of the money requests came after 3 minutes. I should have stopped her. So I think what's gonna happen is, this is just gonna become a discussion.
Yes.
This isn't gonna happen tomorrow. This is gonna be kind of a long discussion here, and we're just gonna kind of go through the process and find out what kind of energy we can get, but,
Correct.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Make sure that they have your name and, or your addresses, and so that they can follow up with you before you leave.
Okay, great. Thank you for your time.
And congratulations on the state championships.
All right, thank
Yeah,
you.
that's awesome.
Yep, thank you.
Is anybody else here to address council for open mic this evening? No? All right, well then we will close the open mic portion. I don't have any reports on previous open mics, and we are at other business. Bef-
No, go ahead.
Okay, all right. So I realize we've been really missing out something here. There is a Police Week and Peace Officers Memorial. It's this week, and it was. And since we don't have a city proclamation this year, but I think we should make sure we have one next year. And since it is this week, I went back and pulled the original one from the first year from President John Kennedy in 1962. And I'm going to just read that one as the proclamation. Whereas our law enforcement agencies play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms which have been guaranteed by the Constitution to every American citizen, and whereas it is important that people throughout our country know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their police departments, and that members of our law enforcement agencies recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence or disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against, and the weak against oppression or intimidation. And whereas the nation's police departments have grown to be modern and scientific law enforcement bodies, which unceasingly provide a vital public service, and whereas the Congress, by a joint resolution approved June 21st, 1961, has designated the week of May 13th through 19th, 1962, which coincidentally lines up with this year is May 13th to May 19th, as Police Week, in recognition of the contribution the police officers of America have made to our civilization through their dedicated and selfless efforts in enforcing our laws, and also, and has also designated May 14th as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of the federal, state, and municipal peace officers who have been killed or disabled in line of duty. And whereas that resolution requests the President to issue a proclamation inviting the people of the United States to observe such period with appropriate ceremonies and activities. So now there he goes on to say, now therefore I, John F. Kennedy, President of the United States of America, do hereby call upon the people of the United States and upon all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of May 13th through 19th, 1962, or 2018, as Police Week, with appropriate ceremonies in which all of our people may join in commemorating police officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in so doing have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. He further calls upon the people of the United States to observe Monday, May 14th, 1962, as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those peace officers who, through their courageous deeds, have lost their lives or have become disabled in the performance of duty. And all this was done The city of Washington, 10th day of April in the year of our Lord, 1962, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 186th. So, that was John F. Kennedy, 35th President of the United States. So, next year we'll have a Coon Rapids proclamation, right? All right.
Your Honor,
Councilmember Wells?
the city does participate in a memorial event that'll be at the courthouse tomorrow at noon. All the cities in the county participate, and there'll be a program. It's extremely well done, if anyone's interested in attending.
Excellent. That's at noon at the County Courthouse?
Correct.
And I believe we have officers that are serving as the honor guard down there at the Capitol as well, right?
Nice. All right. Other business? Councilmember Demmer.
So a couple of us were able to go to the biomedical magnet at the Coon Rapids High School for their capstone presentation, and just wanted to give a shout out to the students there. In case people don't know at home, a couple of years ago, Coon Rapids started this program to become a biomed magnet school, and the stuff they do is just amazing, stuff that I've seen at colleges, and it's really something that should be a big source of pride for Coon Rapids, that the high school students are, for their senior project in high school, doing EEGs and studying ultraviolet radiation and how it changes bacterial growth. There were students doing CTE, the brain damage experiments, where they're trying to make replica heads and see how different hits impact, and then comparing that to a little deck that they made where they made a fake woodpecker. The cleverness and being able to do it on like a school budget. There was one student who wants to be an orthopedic surgeon, and he was doing histology of bone remodeling. I mean, osteoclasts, just insane, the high level of academic achievement for the high school students. And this is a program that's now just barely through having a full class that started as freshmen. So it's been really neat to watch this program grow. And then they've now added an engineering magnet, which they're in very rare company to have both a biomed magnet and an engineering magnet, and to be able to then pull that together and make biomedical engineering in high school it's just top notch. And if you get a chance to look up anything going on at the high school, this isn't an academy, but I think the academies would be jealous of the program we got going there.
Yeah. You used the term rare. I believe this is the only one in the nation.
Yeah.
And as other schools come on board, they come to Coon Rapids High School to learn how to do it. And if you ever go to the classroom, it's amazing. I mean, it's just state of the art. These workstations with the monitors and all the computer connections and the 3D printers, and it's really impressive. Beats the stuff out of that I was cranking out in high school.
Yeah, it's a little different than
Lamp.
You overachiever.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember
So
Geisler.
we've got a couple things. So this Sunday is our home remodeling tour.
Ooh.
And so that's, to me, a fun thing for people in the community. It's our Homes for Generations, where people can get help and support and have an architect work with them to redesign things to improve their homes. And we have our own little mini parade of homes showcase for people who have participated in this program, and that's on Sunday afternoon. I think, there's 6 or 7
Yes.
homes? 6 homes. So that's always a fun event.
Noon to 4, and it is fabulous.
Yeah.
And we're so appreciative of these homeowners that were so excited about the program that they're willing to open their homes up to let hundreds of people come through. And we warned them, it's going to be hundreds. Mr. Fernelius.
So thank you, Councilmember Geisler, for bringing that up. So yes, it is this Sunday, 12 to 4. All of our residents should have received one of these programs in the mail. Hopefully they did. Very well done. So you can see all the different addresses. We have it linked to our website, so if people are curious about that. We'll also have staff available at each property so they can answer questions about our loan programs, permitting if there's questions about that. So it's a great a great event, and we're looking forward to hopefully good weather and a good turnout.
Yeah. And they have an opportunity to talk to the contractor, to the homeowner, to the city rep, and really talk about the process and see how it was. And yeah, and it really builds on itself then. Yeah, it's great. Other business,
I'll take one more.
go for it.
So, and then because we won't have another meeting before June, we have the first movie in the park, Friday, May 25th, The Lion King, and that's going to kind of kick off our movies in the park, and should be fun at Sand Creek, and that's 8:30 to 10. So that's a free event if people want to come and bring a blanket, bring a lawn chair, and watch The Lion King. Get started with the summer. Finally. Get started with the summer.
Kicking it off. Last Saturday, May 12th,
Yeah.
we had the Public Works open house, and the police department had the new training facility open, and we had 320 people, I think they've clicked through, and it was a phenomenal day. It was a great program. Hats off to Mr. Himmer and the Public Works Department and the police opening up the training facility, and it was excellent. Very well done. We should probably go back to the sunshine guy again. Mr. Anderson, Mr. Stemwell and I were fortunate to take a little tour with you and Mr. Habel and look at the new bunkers and look at the new grass, and the course looks amazing. I like the direction it's going. And anything else you want to report for the 50th coming up, or?
Yeah, ma'am, and Mayor, Council, I always take an opportunity to talk about Bunker Hills, of course, and as you mentioned, the 50th anniversary is coming up and rapidly approaching on July 8th, so planning is ongoing, but we expect to have outdoor music, outdoor food, complimentary instruction for the family. Public is encouraged and welcome. As many folks as we can possibly bring into the place that day will be just fantastic, and we'll be there to greet them. So July 8th, essentially from 12 p.m. to 6, but all day will be available.
Excellent. All right. Ms. Lensmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. I want to point out that candidate filing for municipal offices begins on Tuesday next week at 8 a.m. Anybody interested in running for mayor, Ward 3 or Ward 5 council should come see us at the clerk's office and file an affidavit of candidacy and pay your $10 filing fee. More info is on the website, or you can call the city clerk's office and we'll help you.
There you go. Excellent. Yeah. Well, you don't have to come up with $10. You can go out and get how many signatures? Isn't there another way to sign up?
All over the time. That's a lot of work. But you can't do it.
All right. Any other business to come before council this evening?
Second.
Motion by Kicker, second by Demmer to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. We're adjourned.